Good morning, my dear students. Today we are continuing with our history chapter 3, Nazism and the rise of Hitler. Students, in our previous lecture we were studied about political radicalism and economic crisis and the years of depression. Now student, today I will explain you about the Hitler's rise to power. Now, this crisis in the economy, polity and society formed the background of Hitler's rise to power. Born in 1889 in Austria, Hitler spent his youth in poverty. When the First World War broke out, he enrolled for the army, acted as a messenger in the front, became a corporal, and earned medals for bravery. The German defeat horrified him, and the Versailles made him furious. In 1990, he joined a small group called the German Workers' Party. He subsequently took over the organization and renamed it the National Socialist German Workers' Party. This party came to be known as the Nazi Party. Now in 1923, Hitler planned to seize control of Bavaria, march to Berlin and capture power. He failed, was arrested, tried for treason, and later released. The Nazis could not effectively mobilize popular support till the early 1930s. It was during the Great Depression that Nazism became a mass movement. As we have seen, after 1929, banks collapsed and businesses shut down, workers lost their jobs, and the middle classes were threatened with destitutions. In such a situation, Nazi propaganda steered hopes of a better future. In 1928, the Nazi Party got no more than 2.6% votes in the Reichstag, the German parliament. By 1932, it had become the largest party with 37% votes. Now, student, Hitler was a powerful speaker. His passion and his words moved people. He promised to build a strong nation, undo the injustice of the Versailles Treaty, and restore the dignity of German people. He promised employment for those looking for work and a secure future for the youth. He promised to weed out all foreign influences and resist all foreign conspiracies against Germany. Hitler devised a new style of politics. He understood the significance of rituals and spectacle in mass mobilization. Nazis held massive rallies and public meetings to demonstrate their support for Hitler and instill a sense of unity among the people. The red banners with the swastika, the Nazi salute, and the ritualist round of applause after the speeches were all the part of his spectacle power of Hitler. Now, now students, Nazi propaganda skillful projected Hitler as Messiah, a savior, or someone who had arrived to deliver people from their distress. It is an image that captured the imagination of the people whose sense of dignity and pride had been shattered and who were living in a time of acute economic and political crisis. Now, the destruction of democracy. On 30th January 1933, President Hindenburg offered the chancellorship, the highest position in the cabinet of ministers, to Hitler. By now, the Nazis had managed to rally the conservatives to their causes. Having acquired power, Hitler set out to dismantle the structure of democratic rule. A mysterious fire that broke out in the German parliament building in February facilitated his move. The fire decree of 28 February 1933 indefinitely suspended the civic right like freedom of speech, press and assembly that had been guaranteed by the Weimar Constitution. Then he turned on his arch enemies, the communists, most of whom were hurriedly packed off to the newly established concentration camps. The repression of the communists was severe. Out of the surviving 6,808 arrest files of Düsseldorf, a small city of half a million population, 1440 were among those of communists alone. They were, however, only one among the 52 types of victim persecuted by the Nazi across the country. On 3rd March 1933, the famous Enabling Act was passed. This act established dictatorship in Germany. It gave Hitler all powers to sideline parliament and rule of decree. All political parties and trade unions were banned except for the Nazi Party and his affiliates. The state established complete control over the economy, media, army, and judiciary. Now, special civilian Civilian and security forces were created to control and order society in the way that Nazis want. Now, apart from the already existing regular police in green uniform and the SA or the troppers, these including the Gestapo, secret state police, the SS, the SS or the SS, the protection squads, criminal police, and the security service (SD). It was the extra constitutional power of these newly organized forces that gave the Nazi state its reputation as the most dreaded criminal state. People could now be detained in Gestapo torture chambers, round up and sent to the concentration camp, deported at will, or arrested without any legal procedures. The police forces acquired powers to rule with the impunity. Now, reconstruction. Reconstruction of Germany after Hitler gained power. Hitler assigned the responsibility of economic recovery to the economist Hjalmar Sachet, who aimed at full production and full employment through a state founded work creation program. This project produced the famous German superhighway and the people's car, the Volkswagen. In foreign policy, as Hitler acquired quick success, he pulled out the League of Nations in 1933, reoccupied the Rhineland in 1936, and integrated Austria and Germany in 1938 under the slogan One People, One Empire, and One Leader. Now, he then went on the West Germany speaking Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia and gobbled up the entire country. In all of this, he had the unspoken support of England, which had considered the Versailles verdict too harsh. These quick successes at home and abroad seemed to reverse the destiny of the country. Now, Hitler did not stop here. Sachet had advised Hitler against investing hugely in a rearmament as the state still ran on defect financing. Cautious people, however, had no place in Nazi Germany. Sachet had to leave. Hitler chose war as the way out of the approaching economic crisis. Resources were to be accumulated through expansion of territory. In September 1939, Germany invaded Poland. This started a war with France and England. In September 1940, a Tripartite Pact was signed between Germany, Italy, and Japan, stressing Hitler's claim to international power. Puppet regimes supportive of Nazi Germany were instilled in a large part of Europe. By the end of 1940, Hitler was a pinnacle of his power. Hitler now moved to achieve his long-term aim of conquering Eastern Europe. He wanted to ensure food supplies and living space for Germans. He attacked the Soviet Union in June 1941. In this historic blunder, Hitler exposed the German West Front to British aerial bombing and the Eastern Front to the powerful Soviet armies. Soviet Red Army inflicted a crushing and humiliating defeat on Germany at Stalingrad. After this, the Soviet Red Army hounded out of retreating German soldiers until they reached the heart of Berlin, establishing Soviet hegemony over the entire Eastern Europe for half a century thereafter. Now, meanwhile, the USA has resisted involvement in the war. It was unwilling to once again face all the economic problems that the First World War had caused. But it could not stay out of the war for long. Japan was expanding its power in the east. It has occupied French Indochina and planning attack on the US naval base in the Pacific. When Japan extended its support to Hitler and bombed the US base at Pearl Harbor, the US entered the Second World War. The war ended in May 1945 with Hitler defeat the US dropping at the atom bomb on Hiroshima in Japan. From this brief account of what happened in Second World War, we now return to Helmut and his father's story of Nazi criminality during the war. Thank you, students.